Hey there. Welcome to my very first Change by Choice podcast. Thank you so much for listening in. My name is Charlotte Furrow. Just to let you know a little bit about myself, I am a certified high performance coach and I own a business called Thrive Consulting. I do leadership and development consulting, primarily focusing in on people processes, how we set up our people for success, what systems do we need to have in place in order for that to happen. So it's exciting. I'm also a spin instructor and a health coach. The one piece that really connects all my worlds together, some of you might be like, why does she have all these bubbles in the air? Is that I really believe that, our body, our tool, our mind, everything that we do, every choice that we make has to do with not only how we feel about ourselves, but how we're taking care of our body and how we're showing up for ourselves in life. And so that really is that connecting piece between all of the worlds that are out there. And it's just helping people get to a place where they are protecting their biggest priority, which is themselves. So all my worlds connect people to the coaching and the tools to be able to move forward in that capacity, to be able to achieve greatness in their life and to be a high performer consistently. It's not about hitting these peaks and valleys where you're doing really, really great and then you kind of cave and you fall down, or you're able to be productive for a week and then after that you're off for another few. It's really about, how can you keep that bar nice and high and really protect your energy and your time, which then protects your self-worth. And so these are the topics that you're going to hear on my podcast. Each one is going to have a new focus. And at some point in time, I'll also bring people on with myself and do some amazing interviews because I definitely believe that there are just such incredible stories out there, and the power of connection and relating to one another and really hearing, what has our journeys been is going to help, it's going to help in this process. So all really exciting. And so what I want to talk about today, I'm going to start talking a little bit about this concept of time, energy, and self-worth, because it's a really big one. And you're going to hear me talk about this a lot. Because one thing that I consistently hear when I am coaching is, people feeling like they have to say yes to people, things, projects, tasks, children, and what happens? What is that ripple that happens when you are saying yes to things that aren't moving your needle forward, that aren't connecting you to the path that you want to be in? And usually it ends up being, again, that lack of energy, the feeling like you can start going to a place of feeling resentful, not having time. So that's usually the biggest thing that I hear out there is I don't have time. So you'll hear a lot of principles in terms of how can you generate the time that you need. And the biggest piece is starting to say no to things that that just don't feel right, and that don't move you towards your goals, towards your dreams, towards the life that you actually want to create for yourself. And that really is a huge difference between those that do and those that don't. Because we can all sit here and complain that we don't have time. We can all sit here and feel bad that we didn't pursue the goals and the dreams that that we've been thinking about. But at the end of the day, it really comes back to those key choices that you're making day in and day out. And it's really starting to assess, where are you giving your time? So if you think of your time as a pool, and that time is connected to your energy and it's connected to your worth. And every time that you take a morsel of that time out and you give it to somebody, something, some project, you're saying that this time here is, once I take it out, it's going to take away from, me being able to pursue all the other things that I want to do during my day. And is it worth it? Right? So once you take it out and you give it to somebody or to something, now that time is gone. And now you have less time to be able to give to other things in your life. Now, if you feel great about that choice, amazing. But I really want you to reflect on, what if you're not feeling great about those choices? Because we usually have indication inside of us. Something is usually telling us that like, I don't feel like doing that, or, oh, that, I don't have the time for that, or that doesn't feel right, or this person's taking from me and they're not giving to me. And so, those whispers, those thoughts, that's your truth. And what I'm encouraging you guys to do is to start listening and start choosing differently based on what your body's telling you. Our bodies have an amazing gift. If we're listening, they actually tell us most of the answers that we need in life. And so when you're focusing in on developing a super strong relationship with yourself, what you're going to do is really just harness that ability to listen. And then when you have the courage to, you're going to start making different choices based on what you're hearing, based on what your body is telling you. Problem is that so many of us just silence anything that our gut is telling us. We're just not listening. And the repercussion and the ripple is that we end up being unhappy. Like we don't have the energy, we don't have the time. We feel, we hit a burnout zone. Or we end up doing things for people that really just they're not giving anything back to us. Relationships should be, in one way or another, a win-win. Whether it just be you doing something and you feeling good about it, or where it's an actual give and take relationship. But when we constantly have people around us who are taking from us, taking our energy from us, I like to call them vampire suckers, energy suckers. They're just, just being around them takes a piece of you away. You've got to start asking yourself some hard questions. Why are you allowing that to be in your space? Why is that okay? And it really comes back to the reflection of, every time that you make a choice like that, you're saying that that's what your worth is. It's a complete reflection of your self-worth. The strongest tool that we can build beyond treating our bodies well is our voice. And that's going to be another huge component to this podcast, which is developing, a voice of full expression, where you're really speaking from an authentic place, where you are saying the things that you need to say, but in a way that's like, it's not coming out of anger and emotion and bitterness and resentfulness. You're just being true to yourself. You're being authentic. That missing ingredient is always courage. I often will reference being bold, and some people have this stronger than others. At the end of the day, I truly believe it is gauged by the results that you get. Some people can be super bold and courageous, but it comes out and it makes the other person feel really awful. Maybe the tact is missing, maybe the tone is missing. But finding that ability and practicing how to speak in that true authentic place, it's a skill that a lot of people are missing. And it's one that the only way that you get it is by trying and practicing and failing and cleaning up the mess and trying all over again. So yeah, it's something that takes from us. Every time that we don't speak from that place of truth, where we hold back, where we wish we would have said something, where we, gave in and then we didn't feel great about that, that slowly chips away. And not only that, it ends up ruining those relationships, even when we don't have the intent for that to happen. And so, I want you to think about, from this first podcast, think of this as like a little place of reflection. Where do you play small? Where do you hold back? Where do you, at nighttime, go to bed and just feel just a little bitter, just a little resentful? And it could be your own behaviors and your own patterns that you're tired of. Maybe the question, the dialogue is, I don't know why I act like that. I don't know why I get that result all the time. I don't understand why people, aren't clear when I speak. Right? And so in order for you to know how to move forward and to assess, what pieces you need to change, where you need to cut, what you need to add in, it comes down to supreme self-reflection. And so what I really hope that you're going to get throughout all my podcasts is that ability to ask yourself some pretty strong questions, to take a step back and to, try and understand, where you need to grow. And then hopefully too, I'll be able to add in some tips and some tricks and some tools for you to be able to move forward and grow, right? Growth happens when we have the awareness and the clarity, and then we tack in some courage, add in some action, and then you have growth. Growth doesn't just miraculously happen, right? It takes intention. It takes us being in a spot that feels really uncomfortable and making a choice to move through it and not just to avoid it. And so, we'll call this a little tribe of change, and it's exciting, but I promise you it doesn't always feel good. And that's okay, because I truly believe this world needs to feel more of that and not just run away. Really building those coping skills of like when things are down, when things feel bad, when our heart is broken, when we have been hurt, when something has happened that is beyond our control, how do we move past that so it doesn't take our energy away from us, where we can still live our lives and live it fulfilled and we don't end up being broken because of it. Because as I mentioned, coming back to what the goal is to move through life with a little bit more fluidity, for things not to take us out for so long, for us not to change and be bittered and hardened and sour because of maybe situations that have happened to us, but developing that strong mindset so that you can actually create the life that you want and to be happy and peaceful. Because it doesn't just come to us, right? So that's my little rant for today. More to come. I really just wanted to introduce the idea and the concept and who I am, and I'm super excited. And please, you can my website is www.charlotteferreau.com. And, there's going to be lots of amazing tools, as I mentioned before, that I'm going to be providing. You can find me on Facebook under Charlotte Ferreau Change by Choice. And that's, for me, it's all about value and content. So I'm just going to keep giving, and you're going to see some amazing programs and gifts come through the way. And I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say, and also share topics that you would love for me to chat about. All right. Anywho, I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will talk to you shortly.